Board of Parks and Recreation Commissioners will come to order. First order of business, approval of the minutes of the July 9th meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Item number 1, introduction of municipal interns.
Yes, Commissioners. Fortunately, we were able to reestablish our municipal intern program back in 2012, and now we're here in 2013. We have 3 individuals that are in that capacity for the summer, and Forrest Decker has been coordinating that program for us, and he's going to make the introductions.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Commissioners. I want to introduce Esther Swanson from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, Latrice McBride, Walden University, and Taylor Ashford with the University of Missouri, Columbia. The interns have done a great job for us this summer. We've had them for varying lengths, and we'll have most of them until about the end of August. We've been just kind of rotating them through all of our different operational segments of the department: marketing, planning, field operations, nature center, recreation, you name it. So we're getting a really good taste for what all Parks and Recreation is about. I think it's surprised some of them that we're quite as diverse as we are. But any of you like to say anything? Come on over. This is Latrice McBride.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the City of Kansas City and Parks Recreation Department for allowing me to be a member of the student internship program. I have obtained valuable knowledge as a municipal intern. The People Software program utilized for payroll, accounting, and work orders, RecTrack utilized for shelter reservations, community center programming, and summer programs, just to name a few. My experiences as an intern has increased my awareness of the challenges Parks and Recreation face daily. The complexity of each section throughout the department also has provided an unlimited amount of respect for each team player within this department. Finally, I value this entity within the city and encourage you to continue to inspire future leaders of our great city. Thank you.
Great.
Can I ask you a question? What's your major field?
I'm doing my doctorate in business administration, sir.
Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not required as part of your grade.
I would just like to, like Latrice said, thank everyone in Parks and Recreation for giving me this great opportunity to get to work with you all. And I learned a lot. I've seen a lot of different things. I'm a Parks and Rec major, but my emphasis is in sport management. So I really didn't have too much knowledge about the parks side itself, besides the recreation aspect of Parks and Rec. But I mean, getting out there, I started with all the park districts and forestry and park facility maintenance and all that. I'm working with landscaping this week, so I've learned new things that I might not have ever tried out if I, didn't do this internship. And I've enjoyed it all. All the people are great. Everyone treats me like family, so I appreciate the opportunity.
When do you graduate?
I just actually graduated in May, but as a part of the program, you have to complete an internship afterwards to get your diploma. So hopefully in 3 more weeks, I'll be receiving that paperwork.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, when in Rome. Well, again, thank you for making this program available. I just graduated with my BA in Environmental Studies from UMKC, and I'll actually be starting my MPA next month, and I'll be focusing on urban policy and administration. And with my background, the promotion of green spaces and sort of outdoorsiness is, it's pretty important to me, and being able to work with parks and seeing how, everything ties in it's a pretty big deal. So thank you very much.
Well, we'll take the opportunity to thank you very much for your help, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this again because of our budget abilities, and hope you have nothing but the greatest success in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
I'm done. I'm just waiting for the next item.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not that far along yet. Okay.
Want me to sit down?
Oh, this one I like. Okay, Forrest, I'll just let you go with the whole thing here.
Okay. Mark, you got any comments for us?
Forrest Decker is going to talk about the trim grants, and we have representatives from MDC here.
Yes, we do. Yeah, this has been a grant that we've been pretty successful in applying for over the past 6-8 years. You know, we've been real successful with it. This is a tree resource improvement and maintenance grant from the Missouri Department of Conservation. The specific grant was written to remove ash trees within the city. We focused on Paseo, as you can see in the memo, 51st to 79th Street, removing those ash trees and replacing them with a more suitable species. We got the grant. We were successful with it, not to exceed $10,000. Mark Nelson, not Wendy Sangster as it says on here, but Mark Nelson from MDC is here today to present us with a check for $9,854.25.
It's always good to bring money.
Oh, absolutely.
It is my pleasure to present the city with a check and for the TRIM grant, as we call it. With the city, they're a model for not only the communities here in the greater Kansas City metropolitan area, but for cities all around the Midwest in how to deal proactively with the emerald ash borer. It continues to make news. It was just found over in Johnson County. Thankfully, we've not found it yet in Jackson County, but of course it's been found within up in Platte County, and we're diligently looking. I know Kansas City Parks and Rec is a great partner with us, along with several other state and federal partners as well, in trying to find the extent of this insect. As I suspect you all know, the emerald ash borer has the potential to be a nuclear bomb on our ash trees. It has that potential. But the work that the Parks and Rec Department is doing in trying to slow down the spread of the pest, in trying to locate it, all of these things, and in trying to be proactive by removing ash trees that are at risk, by treating trees as well. That's not part of the TRIM grant, but doing some of these various treatments to try and preserve the good quality ash trees that you have in this marvelous city. All of these things are truly a testimony and a model that other cities in the Kansas City metropolitan area can use, and we hope that they will, at least in some ways, emulate. So yes, it is with great pleasure that I present to the city a check for $9,854.25 for the successful completion of the Tree Resource Improvement and Maintenance Grant. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions for you all?
Any questions,
No,
Ed?
I think it's great that we're working together. Really appreciate all that. And I was glad to see on here the white buds. We always talk about the red buds that I like so much. So it's the same
They're
thing.
pretty neat trees.
It's the same thing. I just think they're so hardy and beautiful.
Yes, and the key is, as shown with the trees that are planted along the Paseo to replace the ash trees, diversity. We need a diversity across the board of different species of trees, so that when the next emerald ash borer comes, we hope it doesn't, but that potential is always there, that it doesn't wipe out a large section of our tree population.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
The
you.
only thing I'll remark is pretty remarkable. It came with $144.75 of the limit.
One more bigger.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay. Mark, resolution supporting gallery expansion, World War I Museum, Liberty Memorial.
Yes, Commissioners, this is an item that was in front of the Liberty Memorial Building and Grounds Committee last week, and at the request of the chairman of that committee, Mr. Mecklenburg, and at the support of the Liberty Memorial Association, we are asking for approval of this resolution. The memo lays it out in detail. We have three folks here today that are involved in this. Jimmy Lawson from our staff, who's our project manager at Liberty Memorial, and then Matt Naylor, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer at the National World War I Museum, and Director of Operations, is that your title, Patrick?
Facilities Management Officer.
Facility Management Operations. So they're here, and I think they have some displays they want to bring to the board's attention, and then ask for support of this resolution.
Okay.
So
I'm going to let Patrick talk about it, but they are expanding to the east to create a new gallery, and they are going to be creating a space that's currently a 2-story unfinished space to a gallery with storage to orientate your, the tower is over here. This is the east loading dock. This is the area that you would walk through when you exit for the loading dock and the fire escapes, fire access point. And then the gallery is going to be over here with storage over here. So, and I'll let Patrick talk about the numbers. I have been participating in the design, and it's really kind of amazing the amount of requirements for when you have a museum piece and all the things that Doran Cart has to do when exhibits come in. Like, you can't have incandescent lights, fluorescent lighting, so it's pretty amazing just going through the process and learning how they have to design this gallery space and the storage for it, because everything that goes into this space will eventually go in here, and it has to have the same requirements as the gallery. I'll let Patrick talk about numbers.
A little bit to, if it's okay with you, I'd like to actually hand out a copy of kind of what visually it looks like 3-dimensionally.
Good.
So that you have that with you. And,
Whilst Patrick is distributing that, why don't I just make a few remarks concerning the broader vision of this and what it means for Kansas City. The real strength of this gallery is it gives us museum quality temporary exhibition space, which will enable us to be able to bring smaller travelling exhibitions to the museum, which is particularly important during the centennial commemorative period, which begins in 14 and runs through till 19. Currently, our most remarkable exhibition space has our permanent collection, of which about 7% of the total archives of the museum are on display, and we can certainly move some of that around, but the larger narrative of the museum is found in that permanent collection. The beauty of this space is that it allows us to bring in from other places around the world or from our own curatorial work, including partnerships with other museums in the United States and here in Kansas City, the ability to be able to provide more nuanced topic-specific exhibitions in a museum quality space. So it's very important for the mission of the museum, and we're delighted that we're able to work towards the accomplishment of this in order to be able to enrich the cultural activities here in Kansas City.
I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have as well.
I'm just trying to get in my head where this is. So if I'm walking down past the fountain into the front door, where do I go?
You go to, basically you make a right, go to the end of the corridor.
Okay.
It's the programmatic side of the building the auditorium is on. Sorry. Yeah. Well, this just shows the gallery. It doesn't actually.
We want you on tape.
Sorry. Yeah. It's on the east side of the facility. So when you enter the bronze doors,
the auditorium.
yeah, you continue
past
down that corridor. And once you reach kind of where the columns and the elevator are, you would basically be going directly through that wall. Imagine, if you will, you've obviously been to the administrative facilities at the museum that are on the west
other
side.
Yeah.
Basically, if you flip-flop the building, that's the size of the space that we're talking about. Right now, it doesn't exist. There isn't even a floor poured. It's basically the vision of the architects during the most recent restoration as a future expansion space for the museum to again bring traveling exhibitions and expand the museum. So I would encourage any of you, many of you I know from buildings and grounds committees. Mr. Dillingham, anytime you'd like to come by, I'd be happy to show you the space. But again, we are actually talking about pouring a floor for this space. It actually does not even exist, at this time.
Okay. Well, this is an exciting time for the museum and for Kansas City. So
No, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
we got to do this right.
Well, and with the centenary, as Dr. Naylor said, it's the perfect opportunity for us to expand what offerings that we have. Obviously, there's a revenue generation aspect of this, which is very important to us. It allows us to bring new and diverse audiences in for a variety of different exhibitions. And with it, and the most important on the facility side and operations side for me is that all of this work can happen in Congress with the museum remaining open. There would be no, closure of the institution. We would be able to continue to operate on a day-to-day basis. So, this just makes the most sense. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Okay, any other questions? Before us is resolution number 30067, considering board approval for the attached resolution supporting expansion of gallery for the National World War I Museum at Liberty Memorial. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Okay, Forrest Decker, Managed Archery Deer Hunt 2013, renewal of partnerships.
Afternoon again, Commissioners. Yeah, this is a continuation of a project we have had going with MDC since 2006. We started out with just 2 parks in this program, Tiffany Springs and Riverfront. Over the last few years, we have added on Hodge Park, Jerry Smith Park, and Swope Park. This is a managed deer hunt. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that already. For population reduction and just overall ecosystem quality in these parks. This year, I would request to add on 2 additional parks in addition to the 5 that we already have. Those would be a portion of Hidden Valley Park and the new park, Little Blue Valley, over off Nolan Road. Other than that, everything would stay the same as it has been in the past. Same season dates, same hunter numbers, basically. So,
Are there any questions?
Yeah. I know we started this whole thing by what you're talking about in here about helping the health of the ecosystem and also collisions and other things like that. Have we looked at what this has done, and are we to a point that, it needs it even more so that we still have populations that are out of control, or how?
yeah, Missouri Department of Conservation does an annual flyover in the winter in these areas. It's just a transect sampling type project where they do a population count. The deer populations in all of these areas, with the exception of the 2 new ones I'm requesting, are decreasing, but they're still about 3 times the ideal carrying capacity. But they were, like in Swope Park, for example, they were like 10 times the ideal carrying capacity. So it's working over time. It's not something you can fix in a year or 2, obviously. But at this point, my recommendation would be that we just maintain. We're kind of at a maintenance mode now.
So how long to get it to an ideal number? If this is just
I don't have an answer for that. It may be, that will probably vary by individual park. Like I said, we do fly these over every year. The thing that we've seen in other areas around the country is if you get your population down to an ideal level, you maybe suspend the hunt for a few years, but then it bounces back. They breed and have babies, so.
What have been the health implications of the herd since that time? Has there been a demonstrable improvement, or?
In the deer themselves, you mean? Yes, I would say yes, just from my personal observations, but there hasn't really been any, we haven't measured the deer themselves as far as like weighing them or taking fat analysis or anything like that from them from year to year. That probably would have been pretty neat to do from the beginning, but it just wasn't done.
I know the herd looks better than it did 10 years ago. There's no question about that. Just seeing them in the wild. So I think it's a tremendous program, and I think it's been very successful. And there have been no incidences of public safety or anything over the period that we've been doing this?
No, none whatsoever. We've not had any negative comments on this like we've seen in other parts of the country, But the only issue we've had the entire time, and all the hunters we had a hunter get injured last year by falling, basically. Broke his arm.
Fell out of his stand.
Fell out of his tree stand, yeah. So we do require that all hunters in this program attend a bow hunting safety course. It's a nationally recognized course that the Department of Conservation offers. This one guy just wasn't following the recommendations he learned in the class, evidently.
Any other questions? Okay, before us is resolution number 30068, considering board approval for the agreement with Missouri Department of Conservation for 2013 managed archery deer hunt for 2013. All in favor? Oh, pardon me. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, memorandum of understanding with Bridging the Gap. Again, Forrest.
It's my last one. Good afternoon again, Commissioners. Yeah, this is for a memorandum of understanding with Bridging the Gap to design, plant, and maintain a bee garden at the Lakeside Nature Center. I do have a guest here with me today. I'll bring her up as well. You can kind of see the terms of the agreement there. It's a 5-year agreement with maintenance funds provided for the first 2 years. This would be a formal agreement with Bridging the Gap. Bridging the Gap would provide and install the plant materials and provide that maintenance funding for the first 2 years. Our staff would provide the watering and weeding and any plant improvement that needed to be done. This is Kristen Riot,
How do you do?
CEO of Bridging the Gap.
That was a promotion. I'm the executive director of Bridging the Gap.
Oh,
But
I'm
thank
sorry.
you, thank you. I think it's actually the same thing. But yes, Bayer Crop Science has been a supporter of Bridging the Gap. If you're not familiar with our organization, we're a nonprofit environmental education and action group. This is our 20th year in Kansas City. We do a lot of work with Parks and Rec, with Kansas City Wildlands is one of our programs. And Bayer Crop Science is headquartered in Raleigh, but they have offices here in Kansas City. This is part of a national program that they're doing to establish pollinator patches around the nation in quiet recognition of the fact that some of their products have contributed to the decline of bee colonies. I think it's very much to their credit that they're doing this. And they are funding both the plants themselves, the installation, and the maintenance. So we determined that it would actually be simplest for the funding and so on to go through Bridging the Gap. So we'll do all the interfacing with Bayer Crop Science. We have a design, which I brought copies of in case you're interested in, what constitutes a bee garden. But basically the principle that Mark Nelson just articulated is diversity. You really want a diversity of blossoms, a lot of different shapes and colors to attract different species of bees, and you want to have year-round bloom. So when you see this, it's actually going in August 19th. There's going to be a small press party and so on for it. Bayer Crop Science volunteers will put it in. It'll be on the very front, is that the east or the west end of the?
Kind of the northwest
Okay.
corner. Yeah.
So the northwest corner of the Lakeside Nature Center. So you'll see it after August 19th. It will be in. It'll be all native plants. We'll have some educational signing and so on. And this will be one of, I think they're probably doing about a dozen of these around the nation. Ours is, I think, the third one.
Oh, so definitely the only one in Kansas City.
The only one in Kansas
Great.
City, yeah. But we're hoping that it will provide the model for for people to plant things that are attractive to bees.
So how big is this?
It's 2,100 square feet, and I actually have
Holy cow.
it's not a very professional drawing, and actually this is still under,
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
this is still under review by Missouri Department of Conservation, but
Thank you.
Bill Fessler's
Wow.
looked at it, and, yeah, and I have more, I just.
So I'm used to the
wasn't sure how-
butterfly gardens. This is
Yeah.
Yeah,
much bigger.
it's great fun thinking about it.
Yeah.
A lot of the plant species that are in there are pretty similar to what you would find in a butterfly garden too, but there's just a little more diversity in this.
Yeah, the tough part is getting something to bloom in winter. So you have things like witch hazel and hellebores and crocus and so on, so that you have pollen available to bees year-round.
Yeah.
And I'm understanding from Forrest that you've already been educated extensively on bees. Is that?
May you remember Jared Mellenbrook was in here with
Right,
the
yeah.
hive a while back.
Oh,
yeah, the beehives.
Is that right?
Kristen, I told Kristen not to talk as long as Jared did.
I did. He told me I had 3 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Forrest, are there some educational opportunities available through this? Is this going to be an ongoing educational position
Yes,
also?
absolutely. With the Lakeside Nature Center staff there, they have a lot of different youth programs there, including a stay-at-home school program. So we've already worked with the Lakeside Nature Center director about integrating some of these into her programs.
Okay. So somebody will be available to do this, and will there be any additional training required, or will this pretty much?
Probably not a lot
Okay.
by our staff, no.
And
Shouldn't really
there will be a sign that will provide some explanation to anybody passing by about the importance of providing habitat for bees.
So is this like, go check out the bee garden? No, it's just more like that the bee garden is there and it's doing its thing, but, right, as opposed to like a butterfly garden, I guess is my question.
Well, guess I'm not sure I understand your question. I mean, it'll be there, it'll be available for anybody to walk by or anything else.
Okay, but it's totally safe. So if I'm there with my 2 little kids and whatever, I mean, I guess we were just kind of talking about this with like,
Okay.
you know, there's no, you know, risk of the bees of getting stung and that whole. I mean, I guess there is risk.
Well, we
always with the
did
bees,
have
but-
that conversation. And of course, the Lakeside Nature Center keeps those EpiPens and so on hand, just in case, because there are bees at the Lakeside Nature Center anyway. But happy bees that are not being disturbed are generally not going to be a risk. We did decide, though, this drawing shows that there's a path in the garden, and we flipped that to the outside edge so that we
I
wouldn't
gotcha.
have it in the
Okay.
interior.
Okay.
You could
Okay.
walk around.
Right.
Okay.
Right, nobody
Right.
walking through the interior. That was-
Great.
No, yeah, I think it's great, and
Yeah, it's not even along a walking path or anything. You would have to want to go
Okay.
over to the garden.
Okay.
So, I mean, we don't,
This
it's not,
is
it's
great.
not along our sidewalk or anything like that, so.
This is a really, serious problem, and it's pervasive to many things in our life, and so, this is really neat, and I hope it is promoted, because we have our water gardens and the butterfly gardens, and if people can start doing things like this will be helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is just another opportunity for Kansas City, Missouri Parks and Recreation to be a part of something that's unique and beneficial to overall environment. We appreciate your bringing this to us, and we appreciate Bear Agricultural for supporting that, and we're looking forward to having it installed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you don't want your copy, I'll be happy to
Yeah,
take it
give it back.
and
Sure.
use it again, or...
See, Alex is helping you.
Yeah, Wyndham?
Yes, Global Prairie is the local marketing firm for Bear Crops.
Oh, okay.
So they're handling a lot of the press
That's the connection.
stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you'll do on this, the 19th is going to be a press release, press conference?
There will be, the event of, the installation itself is the 19th of August.
Right.
In the morning, and the press will all be there, the volunteers will be there, that's the installation day.
Okay. Heidi, did you hear that?
I have it written down.
Thank you.
And there's already been, I did a radio interview yesterday about it, so there's going to be, I think, a fair amount of media attention paid to it.
Good.
Okay, good.
All right, we'll tweet that out, right, Heidi?
Okay. Okay, regarding resolution number 30069, considering board approval for an agreement with Bridging the Gap for design, construction of a bee garden at Lakeside Nature Center. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, licensed facility use agreement with the Kansas City Curling Club and Mark, I think you're up
Yeah,
on this
Mark's
one.
up on this one. This is this the second time we've done this?
This is the second season for the Bonspiel.
Right, so we're doing it again here in August of this year.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And really, it is a group of individuals that, it's a tournament that's about curling, and that's pushing a rock or some item towards a target. It's not as popular here in the United States as it is in Europe, but it's one that's catching on. And as a part of that, beer drinking, and not in excess, obviously, but beer drinking is one of the activities that take place as well. To note of last year's experience, I mean, obviously, there was no public intoxication. There was nothing that got out of control. It was a very, very good event, one of which they appreciated the park board last year, and I'm sure they'll appreciate the park board this year if their permission is granted to provide the same kind of services this year, which is the offering of beer and other concession items and other food items, nothing for sale.
And is there a revenue consideration?
The revenue consideration would be the rental of ice at about $200 per hour. It's estimated that we'll get about $6,000 in revenue as a result of the ice rental at Lion Creek Community Center.
And roughly how many people will participate?
I think it's about 70 members from across the greater Kansas City will participate in this. They'll also have some of the teams from local states, but most of them will be in-state individuals and about 70 persons.
Okay, great. Are there any further questions? Any discussion?
So it says a 20-week winter session. Is that also held at Line Creek?
It is. It is.
Okay. Well, it's a really nice facility down there. It's neat to see something like this and to bring all these people in. So, did you participate last year?
Unfortunately, my skates were a bit dull, and I didn't want to try to compete.
I don't think they wear skates. I think they just wear like slippers.
Well,
So
but
you
still
just need
my-
a pair of slippers.
Slippers and a broom.
but still, my skates were still dull. Okay.
This was actually last.
You're busted.
When you have a Winter Olympics year, it's pretty popular.
It really is. It
It's
really
actually
is.
one of the most watched
Yes.
things in the Olympic sports. And, brooming, obviously, is what you do to get create the friction to move that stone. And
To eliminate the friction.
yeah, exactly. Pretty neat, really.
And I'll work on my sharpening of my blades on my shoes for next year.
That's fine. You can just be a figure skater then.
Absolutely.
Okay, any further discussion? Resolution number 30070, considering board approval for facility use agreement, Kansas City Curling Club for Line Creek Community Center, August 2nd through 4th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, licensed facility concession agreement, North Star Youth Football League. Mark, again.
This is one of our many annual agreements with football and our baseball leagues. We look to have the North Suburban Youth Football League use a variety of fields owned and operated by the Parks and Recreation Department. They do agree to pay $395 per field. We look to get an estimated $3,500 plus $50 per week once the tournament begins, and that hasn't yet been determined who will play and the number of games. But we're looking at maybe $4,000 in revenue as a result of this facility use with concessions agreement. And staff recommends approval of the agreement and also requests board authorization for the director or his designee to execute such an amendment on behalf of the board.
Can't believe we're already talking about football season.
It is
Chief
upon
started
us.
training practice.
And feels like we just had Memorial. Is this the same amount, the $395 that we charged last year?
This year, and it'll be more next year. So each year has gone up.
So it's a little more than.
I think it was $365 last year, I believe.
Yeah, you increased it about 10% a year or
Yeah,
so.
okay. Oh, I know my son participated in this league, and it's a great, well-managed and all of that type of situation, and it's a good usage of our various parks in the Northland is enumerated here on the memo, and appreciate the opportunity. So are there any further questions? Resolution number 30071, considering board approval for agreement with the North Suburban Youth Football League for the use of various fields and facilities, July 23rd, 2013 through November 16th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Motion
Commissioner.
carries. Thank you.
Appreciate this one.
Considering board approval for acceptance of gifts and contributions.
Yes, Commissioners, one very significant gift for renovation work at the Eagle Scout Memorial Fountain, located over on Gillum Road at 39th Street. Recommend acceptance.
Okay, in the amount of $133,500. This is part of the Friends of the Fountains campaign?
Yeah,
or-
the Fountains Foundation campaign, Wish Upon a Fountain campaign kicked off on June 9th, and a committee of the City of Fountains Foundation is working on this, and this is one of their, I'll call it one of their early victories in order to get a significant contribution from the Mary Jane Phillips Star Fund held over at the Community Foundation is where that funds are managed. And they'll continue to work on the corporate and philanthropic contributions for the other fountains. There's a pretty active group working on that right now. Casey Cassius, their president, Anita Gorman, Carl DeCapo, former members of this board, Pat O'Neill is part of that campaign committee. And then there's a grassroots part of this that is involving Arts Tech where they're doing these events at each of the fountains throughout the city on Saturday mornings. And I think the next one, Heidi will talk about here when she comes to the podium. I think it's coming over the West Side Fountain this Saturday, I believe. And, so anyway, this is an early victory in that campaign.
Fantastic, and that's great news. Is there any further questions or comments?
Very generous and
Yeah.
wonderful to see this.
Greatly appreciated. Resolution number 30072, considering board approval of acceptance of gift and contributions. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, director's report.
Okay, construction projects, Travis?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. You have a couple of projects in front of you today. We'll start with the Loose Park Pavilion project. This is actually being done by the Rose Society. They hire Bowman Novak as a consultant and then work with park staff, namely Richard Allen has been involved in this, and then through the Rose Society themselves actually they contracted with Kip Davis Construction for the reconstruction of the pavilion. It's a very used pavilion that's in a lot of wedding photos, high school photos, family photos, that sort of thing. Is photographed quite a bit out there, and you can see that they're basically disassembling this and rebuilding it and putting it back up. So this work is expected to be completed in September.
Any questions?
The second is the Satchel Page retaining wall work. There was a slope failure out there along 51st Street, and you can see the retaining wall that's being put in. The retaining wall actually has the not geotextile, but geomatrix plastic webbing that goes back into the bank that's compacted, that helps anchor the wall in to stop any further movement of it. This wall is one project going on in Satchel Page. If you look at the aerial map, you'll notice that where the creek runs through this area, there's work that has to be done along a tributary to Town Fork Creek that had a subsidence in the wall and the stone wall along there. We're currently seeking funding for that with the council district and anticipate that work to take place, provided that the funding comes forth sometime this summer. So, any questions on the Satchel Page project?
No, this is a great project. No, I think we're good. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Heidi?
Well, good afternoon. We are well into our favorite month of the year, National Parks and Recreation Month, and I've been having a great time celebrating and cyber celebrating. So hopefully you have noticed the billboards that have gone up, the one on 71 Highway, and then there's the one over the Denny's down by Bartle Hall, as well as maybe or maybe not seen the wrapped bus driving around the city. It's out there.
Did you find it?
I can call any day and find out what route it's going to be on.
Good.
And so we can see it.
Except Saturday, right?
Yeah, except for Saturday. It was supposed to come on Saturday. There was a bit of a miscommunication amongst the KCATA and the firm who wrapped the bus.
It's a great-looking bus.
But it missed a large portion of the party in the park. But it did show up eventually. Anyway, yeah, hopefully you've been following our tweets or seeing our postings on Facebook where we put out the adventure every day for people to do, or at least know that there's that option to do with Parks and Recreation. And then we have our team of PR interns who are out awarding the people for being in the park through our Park It Forward program. So it's been a lot of fun to follow, and Kind of glad it's winding down because it's been a really long month. We did have our party in the park on July 20th, just this past Saturday. And were you able to make it to the
Yeah,
Lakeside
we
Nature?
went over to the nature center.
Good.
It's great.
Yes, it's a fun day to hop around the park and just do various activities that were free. And we had a good turnout as usual. It was our pool party had a smaller crowd than normal, I believe, because of the potential of rain and the overcast day that we had. It wasn't 105 like last year, which was actually gets a little bit out of control when we have that many people in that kind of heat and you're giving away free ice cream. So it was a great day, and I want to thank all the partners in Swope Park for participating in it, as well as the marketing staff and the district staff for helping out at the event and making sure that the park looked terrific. We are continuing our celebration right now as we speak with ice cream down in the basement for our administrative staff. We also, of course, during part of the month, celebrate our employees and thank them for being part of the Parks and Recreation Department. And so we will be going around this week to all the district offices and starting out here with Make Your Own Ice Cream Sundaes. And so as soon as this is over, and I'm going to talk real fast so that we can go down and enjoy some ice cream, you can go make your own ice cream sundae, say thank you to the employees, and then get a ball cap, although you already have your ball cap, so you can't get another one when you go down there. But all of our parks employees will be getting a ball cap as well, thanking them for their fine work that they do. We have a couple of things, or at least one new big event that's been added, not on your calendar. As you know, the Major League Soccer All-Star Game is in town next week. And they are going to be doing this event, which is an interesting media event, national media event, called the Brush Creek Kick. And so next Monday evening at 4 o'clock, and you are all invited to attend, they're going to have, I think, 10 or 12 of the actual professional soccer players from the MLS teams all across the nation, standing on the Volker Fountain side of Brush Creek, right there around Tice Park, with a goal set up in the amphitheater on Brush Creek in Tice Park. And they are each going to get 2 soccer balls to kick across the creek and try to get it in the goal. And there's various charitable donations and prizes that go along with this, but like I said, a lot of media attention will be there. Mark McHenry has been asked to kick a ball across the creek as well as one of the celebrity participants. So
I'm sure that's going to go well.
yeah, I know. Not sure that will go well at all.
Couldn't we have John Paul do it?
He could send a representative if you'd like. But it should be pretty cool, and so we're kind of excited to have that attention on the creek and in our beautiful park there, and the fountain as well. So it's kind of everything that we are right there in the one space.
What day is that?
It is next Monday, the 29th at 4 o'clock. And we are going to have a couple of kayakers in the creek to catch the ball in case you don't make it across.
Kick a geese across.
Yeah, no kidding. And we're going to have to spray some repellent there on those geese. We're looking for a couple of ball boys, too, if Mary Jane, if your kids.
they're too little.
Okay. Okay, other than that, I've handed you out the flyer on Rock the Block. We're getting a little bit more of the details secured there for that. August 17th at Union Station in the parking lot. This is the mayor's big end of the year, Club KC Mayor's Nights, big celebration. Free to the public, free to everyone. We've got a great band that's going to be playing, the DJ that's coming in after that, free hot dog, chips, and lemonade to the first 2,000 people who show up, so get there early. There will be a thank you and presentation on the stage at 5:30 that the mayor's office has requested. If you guys could attend that, to be there and recognize the sponsors of the program and just all the participants in the Mayor's Nights programs. And you can do that on your way back from the Ethnic Festival because you're requested to be there on the same day at 4 o'clock for the flag ceremony. So you might want to divide and conquer, or you may want to try to do it all. But that's all August the 17th. And then, Mark, you mentioned the Wish Upon a Fountain Splash Mob Fountaineers that have been going around to the various fountains, raising awareness and painting a mural to raise funds for the Wish Upon the Fountain campaign with the City of Fountains Foundation. How many times did I just say fountain? But anyway, they will be at the West Side this weekend, the West Side Fountain, and they're going to have the Hispanic dance group out there entertaining as well. So they try to bring in something different at each of the fountains where they do their little promotions. And it's gone over really well. We've gotten really good media attention from it, and hopefully are raising some money for the fountains. So if you want to come out to that this Saturday, and I can't remember, it's from 10 to 12. And then I'm trying to remember where they're going to be. I think they skipped the first weekend in August, and then they're back at like the concourse. It's kind of, their schedule's kind of changed around a little bit. They were at the Children's Fountain. But anyway, you can check our website, kcparks.org, if you'd like to keep on with the Splash Mob. Let's go eat some ice cream.
Okay, I see no public hearing sign up, so if there's no further business, we're adjourned.
These are being installed as we speak. So they're in process. And then one other thing I'll give you.